Hey there folks, Wrel here. PlanetSide 2 is celebrating its second year anniversary, so I thought I'd take a moment to just be thankful. I still remember my very first time dropping into a fight. This was way back before the tutorial existed, and you would pick your faction, you'd create a character, and then you'd go into a loading screen while the voiceover played. It would give you a brief rundown of what you were about to experience and who you were fighting for, and then you were just thrown into the fight via drop pod, boom, instantly into action. And I dropped into an open field on Esamir, just outside of an amp station. I killed 2 NC before getting mowed down. And this is easily the most memorable moment in my PlanetSide 2 career, and it was also the very first. Well, actually, that's not technically true. My first experience with PlanetSide 2 was way back in beta. I wasn't playing it, but I was watching Total Biscuit commentating on a battle that was happening at the old Regent Rock Garrison, and he was commentating with somebody else. But I remember thinking to myself, wow, this game looks way too cartoony. The animations don't look good, the HUD seems rudimentary, and the whole thing actually reminded me of gaming in the early 2000s back when Dystopia mod was big on Half-Life 2. After that, I kind of just wrote it off and kept playing Battlefield Bad Company 2 or whatever I was doing back then, and just musing about that makes me think about how much the game has actually changed since then. Certification points used to be extremely, stupidly difficult to earn. There were no Extreme Menace bonuses, there were no ribbons, no daily ribbon bonuses. Vehicle experience was garbage, assist bonuses were static, and it didn't scale with damage done. There was no credit for gunning vehicles, it just didn't share experience with drivers, pilots, or gunners. And then you move on to balance, and it's confusing to even think about it, because so much has changed over time, for better and for worse, and then for better and for worse and for better again. But example being, if you're a long-standing player, you probably remember when air vehicles dominated. But later, when enough people started earning their lock-on launchers, eventually lock-ons dominated. I mean, at one point, VS was overpowered even though their weapons sounded like fairy farts, and then Mag Riders took a hit, then TR was overpowered though their weapons sounded like rapid-fire pop guns, and then they got a recoil nerf, and poor NC kind of had the short end of the stick for a long time because Flinch was just way too detrimental to lower rate of fire weapons, and it took us, as a community, forever to figure that out. The whole balancing aspect of the game has been cyclical and ongoing, and will be for the life of the game, because PlanetSide 2 is the most difficult game not only to balance for, but also to develop for. And a lot of that comes down to scale and scope. No other game even comes close to trying to solve this puzzle. In traditional first-person shooters, even traditional MMOs, you have very specific circumstances that you're trying to balance for. You get to control the number of classes, the weapon types, the vehicles, the resources, the size of the map, and most importantly, the amount of players participating. In PlanetSide 2, you don't really have that. You just have a huge map and you can basically go wherever. You have to be able to balance out how a player can operate effectively in both a 1v1 setting and a 200 versus 200 setting, while also having an unknown amount of force multipliers on the field and 3 faction varieties that have different strengths and weaknesses. That's a challenge. That's a massive, painstaking, and underappreciated challenge. And for that, I have to say thank you to the developers both past and present. Thank you for creating an experience that goes above and beyond every other shooter out there and sets a new expectation for what the genre is actually capable of. Thank you for being transparent and interactive with your player base. Thank you for letting us be a part of the game's development by listening and acting on our sometimes ridiculous and obnoxious feedback, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to inspire, entertain, and be a part of what is one of the best gaming communities that I've ever experienced. So here's to you, to us, and to looking forward. Thanks very much, folks. Happy anniversary.